There. Now they really will be there. This one really will be there on YouTube. So thank you all for showing up. It's good to have some kind of consistency of practice, given all the incredible intensity and really chaos that's going on around us. Let's go ahead. I find myself doing this a lot lately. Just as a reminder, this releases what they call negative chi. It just releases stuff. And when I, start getting involved and thinking about this or that, and it gets to be too negative, just a reminder, just to release and keep going, or keep staying. Okay, so let's begin by bowing to the directions, starting with north. And east. To the south. To the west. Above. Below. And within. Let's begin with loosening up the neck and shoulders. Okay, and then moving down to opening up the chest. So to contemplate this movement. So if you are familiar with the Heart Sutra, the Dharma, so this is form becomes emptiness and emptiness becomes form. So with the in-breath, we take form, and with the out-breath, we release form. So birth, death. So into the manifest realm of the senses, including the mind, and then releasing it all back into boundlessness. Filling up, emptying out. The translation of the Pali word nirvana means something like to extinguish, like a candle going out, or a flame being reduced to smoke and ashes, extinguishing. And it's what it is releasing attachment. It's extinguishing grasping and aversion. And so that's the out breath. The in breath, coming into form. The out breath, releasing form. And then this is a gesture of embracing the world, embracing all that is, the world of form. And this is reducing down into nothing. And so we do this all the time. This is the most ordinary thing, to take birth in this moment and then to release. In order to take birth, in order to release. Is that there can be no awakening without form. Something has to be let go of. So this is a nice exercise. It opens up the chest and expands the breath, deepens the breath. It's all good. And what we're doing here is we're dramatically participating with the whole body in this dance of birth and death, coming and going, form and emptiness, yin and yang, day and night. And we're acknowledging it and acknowledging that we are one with it. Who would have thought that just this little exercise could be all that? Okay, couple more. Okay, and the next one, rocking the pelvis. So we're going to tilt the pelvis up and then back. This is really good for flexibility in the lower back and in the hips. If you have a little bit of pain when you do this in the lower back, just a little bit, that's okay. If it's really painful, then don't do it, obviously. But this really can keep the spine, the lower spine, loose. And so this is the gate of the lower dantian. So this is where the earth chi comes up, enters the body. So they would say that this needs to be soft and flexible for the chi to flow, the ancestral chi. Okay, and then circling the hips, this just engages more of that area, the area of the pelvis. It just keeps it flexible. And if you do this you know, a couple times a week, there'll be a lot of benefit for your stability and your flexibility. And your balance. And so then the next part is drop the attention down into the feet. Remember the bubbling wells there behind the balls of the feet. You can feel the heels, the outer edge, the balls, the feet, the toes, and drop the attention there and notice that it is 50-50, left to right. And then as we slowly sink down a little to the left, notice the weight, the percentage of weight changing. And then when you get to about 90, 95, lift up that right heel. You can leave the right toe on the ground. And notice the vertical axis. So as we shift back, so in this position, the vertical axis runs straight down the center of the body and between the feet, down through the perineum between the feet. And so if we can feel that and you know, also imagine it. Now as we shift, we bend the right knee a little bit, shift down, we can feel and imagine that that line is now centered over the right foot. And when that line is centered, then we can lift up the unweighted foot. And then we touch down with no weight, shift the weight, feel it reach 50-50, and then that center line is directly between the feet. And then as we shift again, the center line moves over, till we're steady on that one foot. Lift the unweighted foot, touch, shift. And then of course you can use hand movements if you like. It's not real important. The main thing is that vertical line and being centered, being balanced, and having a sense of where your weight is. So that's an exercise too, physical exercise for balance, but it also has to do with other kinds of balance. So it has to do with being okay when you're standing on one foot. And in your life, that can mean that something very hard has happened and you've lost some of your equanimity or your grounding, and now you're really only on one foot, but you're okay with it. You can be aligned and steady even on one foot. So it makes us more stable. It builds equanimity, which is the mental version of physical balance. So we can cope with things. If we trip or slip, we lose our balance, we're more likely to regain it if we have a sense of this. So now you remember the 3 twists that we did a few times back. This is the basic one, and this is returning the hips, and this is activating the lower part of the torso. And then remember, if you want to move up, then you step around, and then that swings the arms up a little more, and that activates a higher part of the torso. And then you can get your shoulders involved a little and really swing out. And that activates a higher part of the torso. So, and then you can do this faster if you want to. Most of these moves are taught and practiced slowly, and there's reason for that, but you can also do these a little more vigorously if you feel like it. And then you can sort of sense which part of the torso you're activating here. Okay, let's go ahead with backwash and tree and spring. So we'll start, if this is new for you, put the attention at the crown of the head and keep our mind focused on the body, particularly down the spine. As we open the spine, you get it completely open and hang, and then you can sort of turn, you can twist a little side to side, stretch your sides a little bit if you want. Notice your balance on your feet. You want 50-50 and front to back, even so you're not tipped forward. Okay, and then coming back up, so the mind, the attention moves up the coccyx, up the lower spine, middle spine, upper spine, cervical spine, and then up, 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 up. Now this is really connecting heaven and earth, isn't it? This could be classified as one of those practices because we're pointing to the earth, we're pointing to the center line of the body, bringing the attention straight up, central meridian, out the top of the head and into the universe. So, and backwash again. This is also sometimes called the waterfall. And place the attention inside the body. Use the eyes and looking internally. The fingers are pointing to the spine. Attention, the light's moving up the spine, out the top, up into the universe. And then falls back down. You repeat. This is the same cycle as the in-breath and out-breath. Going up infinitely and then coming back down. Going up is moving form into spaciousness, into boundlessness. And this is moving boundlessness down into form. Same as the breath. Okay, let's do one more. Opening the spine. And then coming up, using the fingertips and the eyes, focusing the attention up the inner part of the spine, out into the universe, and then coming down. Eyes move down now, down the inside of the body, all the way down into the earth, point to the earth, and then in breath. Breathe regularly. So all of this is a play of seeming opposites. And I say seeming because they're only opposite from a particular perspective. So part of the thrust of Qigong, or spiritual Qigong, which is woven into breathing earth Qigong, is using the body as a Dharma door. So this is the body. What is the body? What is a body? And a body in Taoism is a manifestation of qi into a particular shape or form. That's what all the bodies are. So it can be a physical body, it can be the body of a tree, it can be the body of a cat, it can be a cloud or a mountain, a drop of water. It can be a thought. Okay, so a thought is a manifestation in some kind of identifiable shape of the qi. The qi can become anything. Qi is formless, so it can take form, right? So thoughts in this system, thoughts are bodies, okay? Emotions are bodies. Anything that coalesces this qi into a particular identifiable thing, that's a body, okay? And so the body is in this constant dance of coming into being and disappearing, moment to moment to moment. And that's in fact how our perception of the world works. The sutras talk about a mind moment. So there's like 4,000 mind moments in a second, something like that. Pick a number. A mind moment is when reality appears and disappears. Only it happens so fast that it seems seamless. And it's compared to sometimes to a movie, like a 35 millimeter movie that's run on reels. It runs at a certain speed, and the movie appears seamless. But in fact, it's a collection of little tiny moments that when they're strung together and light goes through it, it appears as if it's continuous, right? So the qi, well, So that's form. Formlessness is the space in between. Okay? So if we're thinking, there's a thought, and then there's a space, and then there's a thought. If we're breathing, there's an in-breath and a pause, and an out-breath and a pause. So that's form and emptiness. And that's the paradigm. And looked at from a step back, this constant motion of yin and yang exchanging all the time, that's closer to the qi. Because the qi is actually unchanged, whether it's form or formless. Okay? So in Qigong, a lot of what we're doing, and we'll do some of this, is we're practicing de-solidifying the body. Maybe that's not a word, but the body becomes much more spacious. Okay? And then we're less caught in it. Whether the body is the physical body, or if it's an idea, or if it's an emotion, concept, it's a way of being. It becomes, it's moving into formlessness. Okay? And then conversely, we can be present when the form just begins to take shape. So we'll do this. Let's just go with something simple that we know. Let's just go with a morning routine. So we begin with standing mountain, where the body's very solid like a mountain. We're beginning with the solidity of form, the gravity, the weight, the sense, the felt sense of the body and the earth. Okay, now, one of the concepts of Qigong is that there is movement and stillness, same as their form and formlessness. So this is stillness, right? But where there's stillness, its opposite also exists. So the mountain is still. But what's moving? Well, the breath is moving, right? The mind is moving. The blood is moving. There's lots of movement. So we're focused on form here. And at the same time, we're aware that there's also movement. There's stillness and there's movement. Okay? And the awareness itself is empty. Awareness is not a thing. Okay? So it's all here. Now we're going to move from the gross form, as we move through these exercises, into a more increasingly porous sense of form. So the first one, so earth's fragrance drifts up. So in breath. Now we're very aware of the breath because we're moving our whole body in tune with the breath. So we're very aware of in breath and out breath. We're very aware of yin and yang. The movement is obvious now. So if there's movement, where's the stillness? Can you touch into that which is aware of this movement, of this body, of this moment? The awareness is the stillness. It doesn't change. So earth fragrance drifts up. So we're activating the lower dantian and the heart, the middle dantian. And the fingers are touching. Okay. Let's do one more. Okay, and then we touch into standing mountain for a moment. Form, awareness. Okay, now sunrise on the horizon. Now this time, the hands are not touching. So we're dealing with the energy, we're dealing with the sun. Sun is energy. Here's the horizon. So now there's vertical and there's horizontal. We even touch into standing mountain just for a moment between each one. It's just like the breath. So there's the breath, there's a still point here. There's the next breath. And there's a still point here. So the in breath, out breath, still point, in breath, out breath. So the breath is moving. The body's moving, and there's a still point built in. This is the sun coming up. This is awareness. Light in Qigong is attention, which is a focused awareness. So the first one was just earth's fragrance, just really basic. Now this is light. We're expressing the breath with the whole body. We're one with yin and yang, with coming and going, in-breath and out-breath, birth and death, and then that which is aware of all of this is the boundless part. Okay, let's just do a couple more. Okay, the sign of awareness in the body is a little smile. And now we're going to go up even higher. So the body is getting more diffused because it's including more of reality. So now we're coming up, parting the clouds. We're reaching way up now. Extend the senses out. Part the clouds. The sun shines down through the forehead. It lights up the body. Touch into standing mountain. Palms are facing. Elbows facing. Look up. Turn the hand back to back. Part the clouds. So the sun has gotten much higher, hasn't it? All of this is the body. So the body is extending up, 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 and by extension out the hands. And now this, the light of the sun, the moon, the stars is part of the body. It's moving right through it. And all the way down through the body and down into the earth. And now the earth, the energy of the earth's solidity moving up, offering this up. Release, open. Down. So this is, we're literally moving between the form, the heavy form of the earth, the body, and up into formlessness, into spaciousness, into light itself, and combining what they call the heavens, or the light, and the earth. So they're no longer opposites, right? Because remember, light is awareness, attention. Now that awareness comes down, completely fills the body. We're aware of every cell in the body. Okay, now the body's gotten very, very, very big, because now it includes way up. Okay, let's go down. Let's do one more. Parting the clouds. Okay, so the sense of awareness, the sense of the body, the senses are extended now in all directions. There's a sense of the form of the body imbued with this awareness, this light. Okay, so as always happens after a moment of insight or a moment of the spaciousness, now we come back. So now we're washing the body with rainbow dew. So we're drenching the body. This is not standing mountain. This is water. This is rainbow. This is water that's imbued with light. So now we're in the body, back in the world of form, and there's this rainbow light and this purity, this purifying or cleansing. Okay, let's do one more on each side. And touch into standing mountain. Now notice how standing mountain feels now compared to how it felt at first. So now this is all imbued with this awareness, the light of awareness. So it's not just a thing. It's a thing that's awake and alive. Okay? And so now all of this, as we kind of go into intermission here, is what I was saying at the beginning. So now we're just going to release any of this that may be too much. And you can do this really big, or you can do it just really subtly. And now the next part is actually kind of the central drama of one of the central dramas of Qigong. So we're going to just bend down, gather up the energy of the earth, the energy that's in all living things. And we're bringing it into the storehouse of this body, which is the lower dantian. This is really, really ancient stuff. So you can imagine this sphere of energy of light centered in the lower dantian, below the navel. So we'll do this 4 times. And this is literally the life force energy that's being stored. And 2 more. It's an acknowledgement that this whole body is a product of the earth. Okay, and 1 more. Now I just settle and sort of get a sense, if you can, just feel and imagine this ball of energy with the center of it is in the center of the body, a couple inches below the navel, and the hands are sort of resting on it. It goes all around. It's a sphere. So, and then this connects us, if we're in a female body, this connects us to our progeny or to our womb, to the system that creates life. In a male body, this connects us back to our mothers and grandmothers and so on, all the way back. So this really kind of goes back into the past and into the future. Okay, now this is called refining the chi. So dipping the knees. So we'll bring this up, some of this up and into the heart. And the teaching is it becomes finer. It has to be finer in order to be higher. So we'll do 3 times, it's 1. So now we're bringing some of this up. And we're sort of building this vertical column, aren't we? We're bringing our awareness from the center of the earth, lower dantian, the heart area, sort of lighting up this column of light. And then 1 more. And then just dropping into, so this light in the heart, light in the belly, light in the earth, this column of light through the whole body. Okay, and now we'll touch into, actually act this out. So touching heaven, touching earth. So the eyes can look up or down or straight ahead, I guess. And we want to extend our awareness out the fingertips and infinitely up. And infinitely, or down into the center of the earth. So the mind goes way, way, way up and out and way down. So, and then we bring all that together in the heart. So that's form and emptiness. And now, sort of embracing all that is. And then back. And now we're going to switch hands. The one that was up goes down. The one that was down goes up. So we're saying, yeah, they're opposites, but not really, because one can't exist without the other. So, and here it comes. and out. Little smile. Because all form comes and goes in the presence of awareness. The entire universe comes and goes in the presence of awareness. Yeah, let's just do one more. This goes in all directions. It's not just up and down. It's all directions. There is no up and down. There's everywhere, always. And so this goes in all directions as well. So there's no difference between hands up and down and hands to the sides. They're all going in all directions. And you may sense the vibrating quality of the body. And then we just finished this with flying crane. So flying crane, of course, is a bird, it's a form, but it's very airy. It's very light. And it flies inward and outward. No separation between in and out, left and right. Okay, let's reduce the movements. So is this the body standing here? Is this energy that's inconstant? And all of this unfolds in awareness. Okay. So I'll go ahead and break your stance. And we'll go into our closing. So my count of 3, we'll clap once. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, thank you for your practice. And if you have any questions or comments, let's do that.
Thank you for your guidance.
Thank you for showing up. It's much more fun to do it with other people, even if you're not in the same room.
You bet.
You know, I kind of wonder what the future is going to be with the Taiji Center, if we're going to be offering these kind of classes, maybe and physical classes or instead of physical classes. I don't know. I mean, people who don't live in Madison or who live far, you know, have to drive a ways, I think would prefer this sort of format. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do you feel? Let me ask you a question. Do you feel like practicing in this way is as effective as actually getting in your car or bike and riding to the Taiji Center and showing up? I mean, do you think is there something lost? Is it just as good? What do you think?
It's definitely even better for people who don't live nearby.
Yeah.
So if we can't make it to class, yeah, it's great.
I mean, we live in Oxford and we're talking about moving to California. We would still come.
Yeah.
David would still come for sure, and I'm thinking about it. So yeah, this is a great way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to think of a negative to doing it this way.
And it seems like you could offer this with a live class. I don't know how that would work.
Just Zoom the class.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so people that can't be there could still join.
It seems like the best of both worlds.
Yeah. No, that's a thought. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Anything else? Good to see you. Good to see you all.
Stephen, this really works for me as well as a class, without the get in the car and drive. I mean, I can, and in some ways, and this is just me, I am less kind of self-conscious doing it here. You know, like I'm not visually, I look a lot, so I'm not looking at other people in the same way that I do in a classroom. I find myself more focused on what you're doing as the guide and what I'm doing. And at the same time, I have this awareness that we're not alone. The energy of the group is there, but I don't know, it's something different with the visual for me that I really like.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting that you know, we're talking about the physical merging into the non-physical and back and forth. And so you could do this class and not physically, you can be in California, you know, and do this class. It's kind of a parallel situation. Well, okay. Well, it works for me.
I agree with Bonnie, but I also worry a little bit about being so comfortable here at home and doing this. And I mean, it's like meditating at home. There's something to be said for meditating in a room full of people and all of their distractions, and the fact that you had to drive there and be frustrated at some other driver, or that you got all the red lights or something. It's kind of easier for me to just drop right in here, but I think probably a mix would be best. Like you get too used to doing it in a really quiet place when you want to be able to do it in a really noisy place too, like the rest of the world. So,
I agree with Todd. I would like a combination. I mean, I like being able to just come into my bedroom and do this, but it also means, you know, I can be distracted by what's going on in the other room. I can be called away, yada, yada. And if I come to the center, that's not going to happen. I'm there.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I mean, I should practice not getting distracted here. Okay, fine. But I'm just saying, you know, it's helpful for me to have that.
Yeah. No, that's interesting.
It's interesting. Some people get distracted at home. Some people would be more distracted leaving home.
I think it would be really great to do it. I love this format. I love being at home. I love not having to get into the car and drive. But, you know, there are several of you that I've never seen in person and a few that I have. And I think it'd be so great to, at some point, be able to get together, like for a retreat or something along those lines.
Mm.
You know, maybe once every couple months on a Saturday, go practice somewhere, something like that.
Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting idea.
Something like the days that you've already done, you know, where it's just a longer time to practice.
Yeah. So that could be, you're thinking that could be virtual too, or like out in a park or something, maybe outdoors where it's, I think.
Yeah, I was sort of seeing it as being outdoors, you know, like at Holy Wisdom or Wingra Park or something like that. I just because I'm new to it. So like Stephen, I've never like actually been in your physical presence, and I know Bonnie and Beth, and I think that's it. So it would just be so cool to actually like be with everybody every now and then. But I would much prefer to keep doing this via Zoom on Mondays. I love it.
So some combination that seems, yeah, it seems right.
Plus, once the practice of hugging returns to the world, it would be nice to have opportunities to exercise that.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't know how long this is going to be. So, yeah. Allison, can I put you on the spot a moment and just ask you how teaching is going?
Yeah, well, I was going to chime in and say that I'm glad we have this format and the ability to continue practicing as a group together, and live presence helps me to get back on my computer to do a Zoom class. But I do find it hard to join sanghas now because I am on my computer all day long. And it's nice to just close the laptop and not be engaged in a digital virtual world. But teaching right now it's pretty overwhelming because they want the same amount of content to be taught virtually, and we're doing a lot more live teaching on Zoom. So they are expecting us to get up to 4 hours a day on Zoom with 5 and 6-year-olds in kindergarten. And we've done about an hour, and we put breaks in, and breaks where we tell them, I should see empty seats. You need to leave the screen and leave the seat that you're in. So we're trying to make it work, but it doesn't quite seem developmentally appropriate. And it's happening in a lot of places. My sister is a mom of a kindergartner and a 3rd grader, and she said every day somebody's in tears. And she's looking into accommodations so that her kids don't have to be on Zoom for hours and hours.
Thank you. I was just curious. Okay, well, I think we're kind of straight ahead now. I'm not planning on going anywhere that I know of. So we'll be every Monday. And thanks for showing up. Great to see you all.
Thank you.